Rich men never reveal these habits. Most people think rich men became successful because they were lucky. Wrong. Luck may open a door once, but habits decide who stays powerful. And the truth is, the habits that create wealth are usually invisible, because powerful men rarely announce how they think. They move quietly. That's why most people never understand them. The average person studies rich lifestyles, but intelligent men study rich behavior because behavior creates identity, and identity creates results. Rich men understand something early that most people learn too late. Attention is expensive. Every distraction costs energy. Every emotional reaction costs focus. Every unnecessary conversation steals time. That's why truly successful men become selective with their energy, their environment, their emotions, their circle, because they know something dangerous. Your life changes depending on what controls your attention. Most poor men are emotionally reactive. Rich men are emotionally disciplined. That difference changes everything. Weak men spend money emotionally. Strong men spend strategically. Weak men buy status to impress strangers. Powerful men build assets silently. That's why rich men rarely reveal their real habits, because modern society rewards appearance more than discipline. People admire luxury, but ignore sacrifice. They see expensive watches, but never see the lonely nights, the pressure, the isolation, the years of consistency. And consistency is the habit most people secretly hate, because discipline is boring, repetition is boring, silence is boring. More time listening than performing. The average person enters a room trying to impress everyone. A dangerous man enters quietly and studies the room first. That habit alone changes outcomes. Rich men understand human psychology deeply. They know people fake confidence, people chase validation, people hide insecurity through status. And once you understand human behavior, you stop being easily manipulated. That's another hidden habit of successful men. They stop needing approval. The average person lives emotionally dependent on other people's opinions. But wealthy men understand approval is temporary. Self-respect matters more. That's why powerful men often look calm under pressure, because emotional stability is a financial advantage. Panic destroys decision-making. Fear destroys opportunities. Impulsive emotions destroy wealth. Rich men train themselves to stay calm during chaos. That calmness creates clarity. And clarity creates better decisions. Most people lose money emotionally. Fear makes them quit too early. Ego makes them overspend. Insecurity makes them chase appearances. That's why emotional intelligence matters more than motivation. Most people want fast dopamine, fast validation, fast money, fast attention. Rich men think differently. They become obsessed with delayed gratification. They understand temporary pleasure destroys long-term power. That's why emotionally weak people struggle financially. They cannot control impulses, and impulse control is directly connected to wealth. The ability to say, "not now," is a superpower. Most people waste money trying to look successful. Rich men focus on becoming valuable first. That's why quiet men often become wealthy later. They're not performing success, they're building it silently. The average man wants recognition immediately, but wealthy men understand something brutal. Nobody cares until results appear. So instead of complaining, they disappear. They work in silence. While others chase attention online, they develop skills, because skills create leverage, and leverage creates freedom. That's another habit rich men rarely reveal. They hate dependency. Financially powerful men value freedom more than luxury. Freedom to walk away, say no, control their time, protect their peace. That's why rich men become protective of their energy. Energy is currency. Every toxic environment drains it. Every fake relationship drains it. Every unnecessary emotional battle drains it. And emotionally intelligent men know protecting peace increases focus. Most people live emotionally chaotic lives. That chaos destroys clarity. Rich men avoid emotional chaos whenever possible. That's why many successful men appear emotionally distant. Not because they lack feelings, because they understand emotional discipline. Weak men react instantly. Powerful men observe first. Observation creates strategy. Strategy creates control. And control creates power. That's why wealthy men rarely speak too much. Silence reveals information. Talking reveals weakness. Quiet men learn faster because they spend motivation is temporary. Discipline survives emotion. The average man waits to feel inspired. Rich men execute regardless of mood. That's a dangerous habit because consistency compounds results. Small disciplined actions repeated daily become massive advantages later, but most people never stay consistent long enough to see results. They quit too early. Successful men expect discomfort. That's another hidden difference. Weak men avoid pain. Strong men understand pain builds adaptation. The gym teaches this. Business teaches this. Life teaches this. Growth always costs comfort. That's why loneliness becomes part of success. Most wealthy men experience isolation, not because they hate people, because their mindset changes. Growth changes your standards. You stop enjoying meaningless conversations. You stop chasing temporary validation. You stop tolerating fake energy. And slowly, your circle becomes smaller, but your mind becomes stronger. Most people fear loneliness. Rich men learn how to use it. Isolation creates focus. Focus creates mastery. Mastery creates value. And value creates money. That's why rich men spend time differently. The average person kills time. Successful men protect it aggressively because they understand time is more valuable than money. Money can return, time never does. That's why disciplined men become selective with entertainment, selective with social media, selective with distractions. Every distraction delays progress. Modern society profits from weak attention spans. That's why focus has become rare, and rare traits become valuable. A focused man becomes dangerous, especially in a distracted world. That's another habit rich men rarely reveal. They train concentration. Most people cannot sit alone quietly for even 10 minutes. Their minds are addicted to stimulation, but powerful men learn how to think deeply. Deep thinking creates better decisions, and better decisions shape entire futures. Rich men also understand something uncomfortable. Nobody is coming to save you. That realization changes behavior completely. Once a man accepts full responsibility for his life, he becomes powerful. Excuses disappear. Victim mentality disappears. Complaining disappears because responsibility creates control, and control creates confidence. That's why self-made men often develop calm energy. They know what suffering feels like. They know what sacrifice costs. They understand the difference between temporary emotion and long-term success. Most people stay trapped emotionally. Rich men separate emotions from decisions. That habit alone changes everything. They don't buy emotionally. They don't react emotionally. They don't destroy opportunities emotionally. They pause, think, observe, then act strategically. That's real power. Not aggression, not loud confidence. Control. The wealthiest men often appear quiet because they no longer need external validation. Attention no longer excites them. Status no longer controls them. Because once a man builds internal confidence, external approval becomes meaningless. That's why silence becomes powerful. Silence protects plans. Silence protects focus. Silence protects energy. And silence intimidates insecure people. Weak people become uncomfortable around emotionally controlled men because calmness exposes chaos. Most people are addicted to proving themselves constantly. Powerful men stop explaining themselves. Results speak eventually. That's another reason rich men rarely reveal their habits, because most people wouldn't understand the sacrifice required. They want shortcuts, not discipline. They want appearance, not mastery. But real wealth is built internally first, through discipline, focus, emotional control, consistency, observation, self-awareness. Money simply amplifies who you already are. That's why emotionally weak people often destroy themselves after success. Without discipline, money becomes dangerous. But disciplined men use wealth strategically. They build freedom, peace, options. And freedom is the highest form of power. At the end of the day, rich men are not dangerous because they have money. They become dangerous because they learned self-control. And self-control changes everything. A disciplined man with patience, focus, and emotional intelligence becomes extremely difficult to stop. That's why successful men protect their habits quietly, because habits shape destiny. So if you want to change your future, stop chasing appearances. Stop chasing validation. Stop performing success. Instead, build discipline in silence. Protect your focus. Control your emotions. Master your attention. And become so mentally strong that external noise can no longer control your direction, because that's where real power begins. In silence.